Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. This is Lady Fialta's Light Healing group on either Facebook or the channel on YouTube. I am the owner and founder of Lady Fialta's, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about Uranus going retrograde. We talked about it last week, and I felt like it was something that needed to be talked about in two different videos because it was really a little bit too much to try to cram into one. So there is a part one to this video. You can either find it, like I said, in the Facebook group Lady Fialta's Light Healing, or you can find it on the YouTube channel as well. But before we get started, we're going to kind of go over our normal stuff here. First, I'm going to go ahead and invite some people to the video. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. While I'm doing that, my computer has been so slow lately. I don't know what's going on. My computer at work is really slow too, so I don't know what's going on with that. But usually why I'm inviting people, I like to not just have you guys sit here and stare at me do this. So I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today. And usually I kind of keep the chit-chat a little light about what I'm going to do over the weekend or what I did over the weekend. I was going to tell you guys about that. I went to the gem show, but I was really felt this morning like I needed to give a little bit of a message that somebody out there really needed it. So we did talk about when Uranus goes retrograde that it's going to kind of shake things up and stuff. And we're going to talk about that more today. But one of the things that it can really affect is your stress and your anxiety. So if you're somebody who is already struggling with anxiety, this time can be a little bit rough for you. So I just wanted to share, like, I heard this on the radio and I just kind of thought, like, I don't usually share statistics and things like that, but I just really felt like I wanted to share this because it does kind of tie into what we're talking about today. But so I heard on the radio, I don't know if it was John Tesh or one of those radio things that they were talking about, but that people who suffer from anxiety, they did like a little research study thing, and all the people that suffered from anxiety, they asked them like about all the different things that they worry about. And then like so many months later or whatever, they went back and asked them, like, out of all these things that you worried about, did any of these things happen? And it came out with roughly that like only 8% of the things that people worried about happened. So I'm not telling you this to be like, okay, what 8% am I supposed to be freaking out about? I'm telling you this because, like, just so you kind of have an idea that all of the stuff that you worry about is not going to happen. And the few little things that are going to happen are probably beyond your control. And there's not much you can do about it. And by worrying about it, you're only making yourself suffer. So I know that's really, really difficult for people who suffer with anxiety because suffering from anxiety is not really a choice. But hopefully that message will get to somebody that needs to hear that. And if it helps even just the littlest bit, then that makes me happy. If it can even help one person just a little teeny bit. All right, so I've gone ahead and invited everybody to the group. Morning, Jennifer. Thanks for joining. So we're going to talk, we did part one last week on Uranus going retrograde, and we're going to kind of talk about, so the first video was kind of about what to expect, what it means. And today we're going to kind of talk about some of the things that you can do during this time. So, but before we do that, we're going to, like I said, just kind of go through our morning stuff. I'm still working on my little teeny bundle here. At some point I am going to have to retire it, but doesn't really want to light much. It's getting down to pretty much just stems. Apparently somebody's in a hurry this morning. All right, so we're just gonna smudge it real quick. Smudge our hands. Always like to smudge our hands. Kind of just like the same concept of, hand sanitizer. We touch lots of things. We touch people. We touch things that people have touched, and all those energies. So just like to do that. I'm gonna smudge my phone this morning. All right, so I'm gonna let that just burn a little bit. Going to light our Helio Santos. Like nothing wants to light for me today, I guess. And lastly, our candle. So this month in my class that I'm taking, we're working with the goddess Athena. And so the whole theme is kind of wisdom and strategy, not war. That was one of the things we talked about last night, was that Athena, people think she's the goddess of war. And it was more about strategy and wisdom than actual battle. Anyhow. All right. And so then we're going to pull our cards real quick so we can get started. So where we didn't have a class on Tuesday, I'm going to try to pull one of each for us. Yeah. I just don't want to take up too much time. So last week, our stone that we pulled was Septarian. And I know it's backwards for you, but I'm pretty sure I did post the pictures up there if anybody wants to actually go read that. So we'll put that back. And again, the card reading is not for anybody particular, just as a group to help us learn. But I feel like it's probably meant for somebody. All right. Go back in the box. All right, so we have pulled rose quartz this morning. And we may have had this one before, but I have a little piece of rose quartz. Trying to get it. I can't see what I'm doing here this morning. Little triangle of rose quartz that sits right here. All right, so rose quartz, read it to you real quick, and then we'll go on to the chakra card. So rose quartz is pink, so we know it's for our heart. So it's love and heart healing, goes to our heart chakra. Rose quartz is the stone of universal love energy. It draws love to the bearer, bringing peace during times of transition and eases heartache. You have pulled this card because your heart space needs healing in order to give and receive love. Meditate with rose quartz to lower your walls, initiate self-love, and love others more deeply. So there's that, and I will get a picture of that afterwards to get that up on the group. And our chakra card that we pulled last week was freedom of expression. And so we're going to go ahead and put that back. And pull a new card. I feel like that's the one. Divine service is what we pulled. So, get to my glasses back off. The divine light and emanating love of the divine rises within you now, and you are glowing. You are a glowing beacon of hope for others. Focus your attention and intention on being of spiritual service to others. Ask those around you how they are doing. Listen closely and compassionately to their responses. If you have soul gifts you are aware of in this if you have soul gifts you are aware of in this lifetime, use them consciously to assist others as you are called. Make time to be of service to the divine. So this chakra, this is the soul star. So this is up here. You can't see up here. The crystal is morganite, and the herb is white lotus. And again, I will get pictures of that up there on the group for you. Just where we had to pull two today. I don't want to take too long, because I have some stuff I do want to show you at the end from the gem show and from a new little well, I don't know if it's actually new, but it's new to me. I just found it this last weekend at a little shop here in Lancaster, Littleton. And so I made a couple purchases there. So I want to kind of go over that stuff, but at the end, if we have time. So I am just going to recap a little bit, just on, obviously not the whole thing from last week, but so just when Uranus goes retrograde, we did talk about a bunch of different stuff about what that means scientifically and things like that. But I just really wanted to kind of recap that it's the time of the unpredictable. It's the time of things being shaken up a little bit on you. That doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It can also be a kind of an awakening for you as well. But yeah, it's the expecting the unexpected to happen, but that it doesn't all have to necessarily be bad. People associate retrograde with bad things, and I don't really think that is true. The universe didn't set out to make bad things happen to us. It's just how we kind of interpret them. So, but yes, it's going to be a time you could feel a little restless, twitchy, having a hard time sleeping. And again, people who are suffering from anxiety already, it's going to be a time of some anxiety rising for people. So if you're somebody that already suffers from that, you just need to kind of be aware of this, that this is happening, and hopefully you have some coping techniques to deal with that. But yeah, that's going to be going on for a little bit. And so it can be a little bit disruptive for you. The things I wrote down was disruptive, rebellious, stressful, and anxiety. But like I said, that doesn't necessarily have to be all bad things. We can also use it as a time of change, and so we can use it as a time of liberation and freeing ourselves up a little bit. So, so I wrote down a couple of things, not necessarily things that you can actually necessarily do. Like a lot of times I make lists for you guys. I like to have lists. I like to have like number 1 through 5 or 1 through 3 or whatever. And there are things like that you could do. Like for holidays, I give you examples of things that you could do for the holidays. This list isn't necessarily of things that you can do, but kind of things that are going to happen, and things on kind of how you can deal with that and work with that. So I did say this is going to be a time of change, and it's kind of a change from inside. So it's going to be something that's been inside that kind of has wanted to come out for a while, that you, for whatever reason, haven't really let it out. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on here with my throat today. It's going to be a change that you've been kind of, something that's been wanting to come out for a little while that you haven't really let come out for whatever reason. So one of the things for me is this was about the time last year when I decided I was just going to kind of come out with this whole my spirituality and my beliefs, and this is what I think, and kind of not really care too much what people thought about it. Like, I don't live with those people. I don't see those people every day. This is my life, and I'm going to kind of live it the way I want. So that could be one example of something. It just could be anything, like I said, anything that you've been wanting to kind of come out with that that you haven't for some reason. So some of the things that I wrote down was, again, it's kind of similar to the retrograde of Mercury. This is a time to revisit things. You're going to reclaim things. You're going to revision things, and you're going to reconnect to things. So all those things, like I said, that have kind of been wanting to come out for a little bit, this is the time to kind of go ahead and make that change from inside. So if there's something you've been called to do, a part of you that you're hiding, something you just don't want to talk about, this is the time where change is coming, and this is just a good time to kind of incorporate that into your life. I feel by not doing this, if there's something you've really been wanting to do for a long time, or not necessarily a long time, but something you've been wanting to do, and you're not doing that, and you're not coming out with that, whatever that is, that again can be causing that stress and that anxiety. So go ahead and just, go with the flow during this time. And if there's something you want to do, something you've been wanting to do, something you've been wanting to learn, something you've been wanting to become, something you have become, but you haven't been showing anybody that, all those things right now, if there's something inside that you've been wanting, this is the time to let that come to light. This is a time, Uranus wants us to be free, wants us to kind of fly away. And so, to fly away, you kind of have to be light and happy, not heavy and burdened. So even though it's bringing up all these emotions, my theory on all of this is, like, all these things that happen to us in our lives are not happening to us. They're happening for us. There are some sort of lesson. There's something in there that we need to experience, that we need to travel through, go through, walk through, however you want to say it, and to get to the other side, to be better, to either be a better person or learn how to deal with something better. There's always a lesson in everything that's coming through for us. So in this time of, these feelings coming up, there's a reason these feelings are coming up, and that we need to work through them and to kind of get to the other side, to be the happier, lighter us. So even though, like I said, even though they seem like bad things that are happening to us, we need to walk through them. Just a little side note on that, because it's kind of funny, we were actually talking about this in class last night, is if you don't walk through them, do the work, whatever, however you want to say it, and you push everything aside, it's going to come back at you. And it's going to keep coming back at you until you deal with it, until you work through it. And a lot of people that were in my class last night had said the same, that, things that they kind of just pushed aside and didn't deal with, when they came back like, a little worse or a little stronger or different, or, it was harder for them to deal with it. So just, if you, my advice is work through it the first time and get through whatever it is that the universe is telling you you need to work through, so that you can be a better you. All right, number 2 is resource and value. And again, this is all around change. So basically what this is just be the change. Like I said, when Uranus goes retrograde, it's a lot of bad things that are coming up for us, but they're not, the universe isn't trying to block us or get in our way or stop us. These are things we need to work through, to process. And so just, again, use your resources that you have, and value those resources, but use them, and just work through this. And like I said, I kind of wrote a lot of silly little one-liners on my notes today. Be the change is kind of what I wrote. So it's going to be challenging. It's not necessarily going to be like all cake and ice cream, which would be really great. But if it was all cake and ice cream, then there wouldn't be much work to do. But yeah, one of the things that you can kind of do as well during this time is, one of the things is, because Uranus going retrograde in Taurus, some of the things that you could do, just as a little side note here on this, is some sort of savings, whether that be money, whether that be saving money, or it could be something you're doing for the planet. So you could be saving water, you could be saving your electricity, you could be saving your heat, just some sort of saving. And it can be financial. If you want to start a savings and put a little bit of money away every week, you can certainly do that. But it's all around, it's saving. So hopefully that makes sense. But sorry, that was just like a little side note that I wrote down. Doesn't really have to do with change and things, but like I said, this retrograde is in a Taurus sign. So that was just a little side note. All right. Number 3, and again, these kind of really all tie in together. So number 3 was, I wrote unlock yourself. And again, that kind of goes back to that first one I was saying, is change from the inside. If there's something in there that you've been keeping hidden, that you've kind of locked away, go ahead and unlock that. Now, whether that could even be an emotion that you've locked away, it could be even a trauma or a heartache that you've locked away, whatever it is. Like I said, it could be something you want, a desire, or it could be a heartache, could be something you've wanted to learn, could be your spirituality, could be your sexuality, whatever it is you've got locked away. All this is a time of change, and if you resist it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult of a time for you. This is a good time to come open, come out, unlock, whatever you want to say, with all of those things right now. Not necessarily saying that this is going to be like, if you unlock that door and throw the doors wide open and like, here I am. I'm not necessarily saying the whole world is going to be like open arms and accepting of whatever that may be. But it's just a good time. If there's a time that it's going to be a good time to do it, it's right now is going to be one of those times to go ahead and make that change. Like I said, this was about the time I didn't know this last year. I didn't know all this stuff last year. But this was the time last year, because I actually started this group on August 30th last year. And this was the time I decided this is what I really want to do. And I'm just going to do it. And maybe I'll have nobody watching. Maybe I'll have nobody in the group. Maybe nobody will like it. Maybe people will hate it and send me awful emails and text messages. But I just decided that it didn't matter. It was something that I really just wanted to do, and I was going to do it and see what happens. And so, again, this is kind of that time for people to do that. Like I said, I just didn't happen to know all the astrology part of it last year, but I think when you have an understanding of what is going on around you, it makes it so much easier for you to work through it and to process and to kind of get to that other side. So number 4, again, I wrote like a lot of silly little like one-liners. I wrote pull the trigger. Again, it's still the whole theme is the same. Unlocking yourself, changing from inside, and pull the trigger. It's really all the same thing. I guess I just wrote it in different forms. But yes, this is a time to go from the heart. If your heart is telling you to go for something, this is the time that you really want to do it. So I wrote down, just do it. Like the Nike said, just do it. But I wrote a bunch of cheesy one-liners. But I wrote, it's okay to color outside the lines. We have, as society, been taught that like these are the rules and you have to follow them. And in society, we've kind of not even just like rules as far as this is the law, you can't speed and you can't drive drunk and all of those things. Those are good rules, those are good laws. But more on a personal kind of a level, like we've been told that you don't speak up for yourself and you don't do these things, and you don't color outside the lines, and this is your lane, stay in your lane, kind of things. Again, so silly one little liners, but they're true. If you're on the path, just keep your head down and keep going. Don't make waves, all those kind of things. And I'm telling you, make some waves. Get out of your lane. Take a different path. If it's something that you really want to do, it doesn't really matter what other people in society think. I mean, like, we don't want to be offensive. We don't want to be rude. We don't want to be destructive or disturbing or anything like that. I'm not saying if what you really wanted to do was, smash things in public. That's not really what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about is if there's, something that for the good of you and for the good of the planet, if there's something you've been wanting to do, now's the time to do it. So again, have to be careful when we say stuff. I'm not telling anybody if you want something destructive or harmful or damaging. That is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about self changes and self things that you want to do for yourself as far as becoming a better person. So just, I guess, my little side note on that is I'm not advocating anybody to do anything illegal or destructive or harmful to anyone. If that is what your heart is desiring, then my recommendation is you should probably go seek some help. You need to work through something. And my video is probably not in depth enough to help you work through whatever those kind of problems are. I'm not a therapist. But if the changes you want to make are speaking your truth or starting a new job or dyeing your hair purple, whatever it is that you've been wanting to do for a while that you just haven't really done, that is an expression of who you are and who you want to be. Just go ahead and pull the trigger on that. And again, I guess pull the trigger in today's society is probably not a good good one-liner with everything that goes on in today's times. But so we'll just move on to the next one. And again, it's a bunch of crazy one-liners, but I just really felt that they kind of fit. They kind of had meaning for today. Reclaim your crazy, and again, not the psycho. I need help kind of crazy. More of just your fun, free-loving kind of crazy, I guess, is what I'm talking about. So I did write, be crazy, not in a destructive way. So just kind of let go of the rules. If you had somebody that was just always kind of telling you you weren't good enough, or you weren't pretty enough, or you weren't skinny enough, whatever somebody told you, and just kind of like, I'm sorry, but I go back to that stupid movie Dirty Dancing, where just put baby in the corner, just sit over there and be quiet and do what we tell you to do. This is the time to kind of come back out, and baby's like, nope, nobody's putting baby in a corner. I know it's really queer, but that's where my mind kind of goes for some reason. And she broke out and she danced, and she was with the man she loved, and those were breaking all society rules, and but she didn't care. She just did it. So that's kind of where I'm going with this whole thing. Like, if there's something you really wanted to do in your life that you haven't done, and unfortunately sometimes those changes can be hard and complicated, and I'm not advocating for any of that stuff, but honestly, if you're in a relationship that you are not happy in a relationship that is destructive, and in a relationship that is abusive, whether it's physically or emotionally, now's the time to get out. Personally, my feeling is any time is a time to get out, but especially now is a time to get out. And that goes back to that number 2 is find your resources and value those resources and use those resources for those things that you need to change. But yes, if you have something in your life that is someone in your life that is making your life very unhappy, I always feel bad about telling people to cut people out of your life, but sometimes you just have to. Sometimes there's just people that are just gonna keep bringing you down no matter what happens, or they're unhappy, so they want you to be unhappy. Whatever their scenario is, it's not yours. That is theirs to carry and not yours to carry. And if me personally, I always have this, like, I can fix them, I can help them, and sometimes you just can't, because they don't want to be fixed. They don't want any help. They don't want to change. They are perfectly fine being miserable and rotten, and I don't understand it, but sometimes that's just the way it is. And sometimes we just get to a point where we're like, I can't help this person. This person doesn't want any help, and this person is now bringing me down, and I just need to remove myself from this situation. That happened to me earlier this year, and I had to just be like, I felt really bad, but I had to just be like, I'm done. I'm out. I can't do anything good here, and I'm only affecting myself in a negative way, and so I'm going to just remove myself from the situation. So sometimes that is what we have to do. It's not always what we want to hear. We don't want to hear about cutting people out of our lives or walking away from people, leaving people, but unfortunately sometimes the reality of the world is that just needs to happen. And so I'm hoping your changes are going to be a lot more fun and positive, but sometimes, unfortunately, we do have to make the hard changes to get to that better, happier place. So just a couple of last things I wrote real quick, and then we'll go over some of the gemstone stuff that I did. Like I said, Last week's, when we went over it, was really not a whole full class. And this week's really wasn't a whole full video class either. But I felt like trying to smush it all into one was going to just make it feel like I just like breezed right over everything and didn't really touch base on some of the stuff that I wanted to touch base on. So, yeah, the last couple of things I wrote was break the mold or free your mind. Kind of that song comes in my head now. But yes, if there's something that is just you've wanted to do and not doing it is causing you stress or causing you anxiety or causing you to be unhappy, now's the time to be a little disruptive and a little rebellious and kind of free yourself of all those things. Like I said, whether it's just something you wanted to say, something you wanted to do, something you want to learn, become, something that you have become that you're hiding, all of those things. Now is the time to, again, cheesy one-liner, but is let that freak flag fly. So, yeah, just it's okay to be who you want to be. I guess is really where all this goes down to is if there's something you want to do, just do it. Just be who you are. Before I close the book here, tonight is a full moon. So there is a full moon ritual. Like I said in the past, I don't come live to do full moon rituals because Athena does them, and she does them for free. She does a new moon ritual and a full moon ritual every month, and they're free and they're really good, and she's really informative. And so I don't feel that there's a need for me to kind of come and do that because she does that. And if I haven't shared it in the group, I will make sure I do share it. But yes, if you ever got questions on anything, you can put them in the comments below, or you can send me a private message if that makes you more comfortable. I have no preference on either, so whatever you guys are comfortable with. I will say, if you put them in the comments, I think it's a better place for them, just because if you've got that question, probably somebody else has got that question or a question similar. And so by having those conversations in those comments in the post, other people will have access to them. But if it makes you more comfortable to private message me, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I personally don't have any preferences on either way. Either way, I will try my best to answer you or get you an answer if I don't know the answer. So yes, so full moon ritual tonight. For us here on the East Coast, it's at 9 o'clock. So that is where I will be at 9 o'clock tonight. It's actually right here because I watch it on the same laptop. So yeah. So before I go, because I do still have a few minutes, which I was hoping, I wanted to talk about, went to the Gem Show in Springfield. Definitely stepped outside of my comfort zone. First of all, I went somewhere, well, I didn't end up going by myself because at the last minute my grandson ended up going with me, but as an adult, no one else went with me, which is not like me. I do not like to travel by myself. I do not like to go places I've never been by myself. I don't like driving someplace where I've never been. I don't like driving in traffic. I'm kind of a spoiled country girl who likes our little, like, not so busy roads, and traffic to me is like when there's more than 4 cars in town. But yeah, I just decided I wanted to go, and I wasn't going to really let any of my fear or my anxieties or anything stop me. And I'm like, I just decided I'm just going to go. And then on top of that, I ended up picking up somebody on the way. She messaged me and said, if you're going, I'd really like a ride. And I commented back to her. I'm like, well, I don't normally pick up people I don't know. And she commented back and said, well, I don't normally get in cars with people I don't know. But she is in my class that I take with Athena. So we kind of were comfortable enough to say, like, okay, we're going to do this. And then even then we got there and we, we were meeting up with another lady in our class, lady, girl, woman, whatever you want to call her, in our class. And again, this is all out of my comfort zone. I don't like to go meet new people. I don't like to go places by myself. This is like all very uncomfortable and awkward for me to go and do. But the truth of it is when we got there, we kind of just all like felt like we had known each other pretty much forever. Like it wasn't weird. It wasn't awkward. We didn't have like that, like weird, I don't really know what to say kind of thing. We all talked all day long, nonstop. Like we were all really good friends that just hadn't seen each other for a long time. And we just were all catching up on everything in each other's lives. But we didn't really know each other and we didn't like know anything about each other. But that's how it kind of felt. So it was really nice that I did go ahead and step out of that comfort zone because it was really an amazing day. I did get to meet Athena. I posted some pictures up there. I got to hug her. I gave her a little gift of some dried flowers that I had made. I got to wish her happy birthday. We did a little ritual blessing at the end of the day together. But again, that was amazing. But even on top of that, like I got to meet a bunch of the ladies that are in my class. And again, it was just like an instant connection. Like we all just really felt like sorry, go away. We just felt like we've known each other forever. There was really, like I said, there was no awkwardness. We were all laughing and hugging and joking, and it was an amazing day. So I got to meet Athena. I got to meet a bunch of the ladies in my class, which then last night when we had our classroom, it really was so much more meaningful for me. And again, this is really not for you guys, but I'm just sharing, like, I guess. But it was so much more meaningful in class because now I actually had connections to these people. Like being in class with Athena is always meaningful for me, but last night it was even more meaningful, and I had more of a like, because sometimes I watch the videos later, I don't do the live. And like last night, I just really, really wanted to get on there live because I wanted to not only be able to chat with Athena and comment with Athena, but I wanted to be there with the other ladies in the group as well that I had met. So just really profound for me. And I guess the whole point of that is like, that is part of that change, that step out of our comfort zone kind of a thing. Like I said, normally I would not have done anything like that. I think my husband was a little surprised when I told him I was going by myself. I think he was kind of like, really? But I did it. And I used my GPS on my phone. And at one point we got a little lost, but, and I got a little panicky, but kept my cool, hopefully, as much as I could. And we managed to make it there and make it back, and everybody was good and safe and nothing bad happened. The whole trip took a little bit took quite a bit longer than I expected. It took about an hour longer each way, so that added quite a bit to the day. And I had actually planned to leave earlier than I did, but like I said, we were just having such a great time, and we were talking, and even when I went over to say goodbye to Athena, like we said goodbye like a dozen times and just kept hugging and kept talking and hugging and saying goodbye. And so, yeah, it was definitely a day to put in the books as an awesome memory. So with that, I will show you a couple of the things I got from the show. And again, these things did not, like, usually I read you the little cards that I get to tell you exactly what they're for. But these don't come with cards, so I'm going to just kind of wing it here a little bit. I got a piece of aquamarine, and aquamarine, I do have a piece here. Like, I'll show you how little it is. One of the girls, I was walking around with Tara, I told her I had a piece, and it's like really tiny. Look how tiny that is. And I usually tell my husband, I'm like, if it's tiny, it's because it's probably expensive. That's not always the case, but a lot of times it is. If you see the little teeny tiny stones, it's probably because they're expensive. So I did get myself a bigger piece, but you can see that it's actually not just like this. This piece is just like all aquamarine. It's all blue. There's like nothing else going on in there. And I don't know. I kind of like my stones sometimes. I like a lot of the tumble stones because those are easier for me to carry with me. Tumble stones being like the smooth, nice, polished ones. Those are easier to put in your pocket. Those are easier to carry with you. They're easier to work with and stuff. But the reality of it is I really do like my gemstones. Sometimes a little, I call them rough and dirty. There's like a bunch of stuff going on here besides just the aquamarine. But to me, that is like really an awesome piece. It's a very, I don't know. Just, there was a whole tray of them out. And I was instantly called to pick up this piece. Just drew my eye right away. And I went to a couple other pieces and played with them and looked at them and stuff, but I kept just coming back to this piece. And it was like very early in the show. And so the girls and I decided we were just going to walk away. And I actually took a picture of the booth number. And I'm like, we're going to walk away. It's really early. We just got here. You know, we can always come back. And so that is what we did. And before we left, I was like, I need to go back and get that piece of aquamarine. And at the show, at this particular booth, you paid by the weight. And when I handed it to him, I thought he was going to tell me like 40 or 50 bucks, which I was really like, didn't have the money for to spend. Well, I did, but then I probably wasn't going to eat dinner. But he says, no, because of the imperfections and everything on it, he's like, it's going to only be $15. And to me, those imperfections was what made me love the piece so much. But he was saying that it made the stone not worth as much. But I think it is pretty awesome. So that is a piece of aquamarine. And hopefully we all know now that it's blue. So our blue goes with our throat chakra. So I can't tell you, like I said, I don't have the cards for it. I can't tell you the exact properties of it. But like I said, general rule is stick with your chakra colors. Aquamarine. So I'm going to have to look up the properties and the exact properties. But you know, sometimes that just isn't necessarily the big thing. Like I liked the blue ones. So with that, I'll go on to the next one. I picked out this next piece. I have shown you guys my blue kyanite. And I've showed you the black kyanite, which I don't have a piece handy right here. But I've showed you the black one. Looks like kind of like an arrowhead. But I had never seen teal kyanite. And again, it was the same, kind of the same situation. There was a tray of them, and there was pieces from very, very tiny to pretty good sized chunks, like, you know, like this size and some bigger ones. And I had never seen teal kyanite before. And of course, I love the blues and the teals and all those colors. So again, this was another booth that you paid by the weight. And, you know, I've always kind of learned that if it's paid by the weight, it's probably a little bit more expensive than if you just see a tumblestone that is marked for $2 or $3 or whatnot. So again, I was expecting it to be a little bit more expensive. And so I picked this piece. Like I said, this was kind of like a little bit towards the smaller side, but there was definitely pieces that were much smaller than this. And I took it over to the lady and she weighed it and she's like, $2. And I'm like, really? $2? And she's like, do you want to go get another piece? Do you want a different piece? And I'm like, nope. This was the one that I picked. This was the one for whatever reason I felt I wanted. And I'm going to just trust that intuition, trust that gut feeling, and stick with this piece. So again, I got this piece for way less than what I thought I was going to get it for, as well as the aquamarine. I thought was going to be like $30, $40, $50. And he said, no, 15. And I was like, awesome. So the other piece I got at the gem show, I don't know if we'll get to the ones today from the other store that I went to, but we'll see what happens here. This one, I have never seen anything like this before. I picked it up instantly when we went to the table. I put it down, I picked it up, I put it down, I picked it up, I put it down. I walked away from the table. And like we're looking at other booths, we're looking at other tables, we're looking at other stones, and my mind kept going back to this piece over and over again. I wonder if anybody bought that piece. I wonder if that piece is still there. Maybe I should go get that piece. And that is, to me, when that is like, okay, that's, you need to go get it. If you can't walk away from it and stop thinking about it, then you were meant to have it. There was something that you needed to do with this stone. So I went back and bought it. And honestly, I don't know what's in it. I know it's got chrysocolla in it, and I know it's got malachite in it, but I don't know what else is in it. There's obviously more than just two things in there. But it is just a beautiful, amazing piece. And so I need to do, again, a little bit of research to see if I can find out what the other two things in there are. I don't know. I don't know what the other things are in there, but there's definitely more stuff in there than just two things. So the chrysocolla is like the bluish color, and the malachite is like the green color. But as you can see, there's other stuff in there as well. So I'm going to show you one last thing, and then I am going to go ahead and sign off and get to work. So the things from the other shop that I went to, we'll talk about that on Tuesday next week. And again, this was a piece. I saw it. It was very early in the show. I picked it up. I looked at it, put it down, picked it up again, put it down, walked away from it. Again, same whole story. And like literally hours later, I was still thinking about this piece and still saying to the girls, like, I wonder if that's still there. Maybe I should go back and get it. And they're like, just go get it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to go get it. So this is my raven that I bought. I love the ravens and the crows. And I do like the black stones. Black is one of my favorite colors. And so and he was a really good price. He was $12. So 1 plus 2 is 3, which is my number 3. So I felt that that was, like I said, he just kept calling to me. And so I finally went back and got him and absolutely love him. So those were my little finds. Again, I didn't spend a whole lot. Nothing that I bought was overly expensive. Oh, I didn't tell you, but this piece, again, was $12. So that's a pretty big stone for $12. And again, 1 plus 2 equals 3. So I kind of felt like that was a number that was calling to me as well. So I got that piece. So I didn't spend a whole lot at the show. Almost forgot. We were walking by this table, and you guys are probably bored to tears about this, but we were walking by this table, and she had a whole display of rings, and one of the girls I was with kept saying through the whole show she wanted to get a ring. She wanted to get a ring. That's what she was looking for. And so one of the other girls spotted the table with the rings, and, so we all ended up going over there. And then some of the other ladies that we had met from class ended up coming right around the corner, and they were there too, and they're like, what are you guys doing? We're picking out rings. And we all ended up with a iolite ring. They're all a little different because they didn't have them all the same, and our tastes are not all the same. But we all ended up with an iolite ring, and so that was mine. I went a little smaller and a little simpler just because I already had a pretty good sized ring on this finger, on this hand, and I didn't really want like 2 really, really big rings on this hand. So we got matching. There's 4 of us that have iolite rings. We all bought them at the same time. We bought them from the same lady. I posted a picture, I think, of all of us with our hands in. So you can see all the beautiful rings and the bracelets and all that in the picture as well. So with that, I'm not going to try to cram in the other things that I did purchase from the other store. So we'll leave that for Tuesday to talk about. And again, like if anybody has any questions, any comments, just go ahead and either put them below or send me a private message. I'm always willing to do oracle pulls for anybody. I did get a new deck. I haven't even had a chance to work with it. Again, I'll show you guys that on Tuesday because, like I said, I literally got the box yesterday and came home and did 2 classes last night and went to bed, got up this morning and got ready for this today. So I haven't really even had a chance to even look at those cards. So I'll go over those with you, I guess, on Tuesday as well, and talk about the new oracle deck. But yeah, if you want a card pulled or if you have a question for the pendulum or anything, you can always just put it in the comments or send me a private message. I'm always willing to do that. Again, if it's an oracle card pull, just remember that I do have a day job. And if you ask me during the day, I'm going to have to tell you that, I'll do it when I get home. But as far as the pendulum goes, I have one that I carry with me. So if you just have a quick pendulum question, I'm more than willing to get you an answer as quickly as I can for that. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I have to go to work. I'd love to stay here and talk crystals and herbs and oils and chakras and everything all day, but I haven't figured out a way yet to do all that and still pay my bills. So I have to go to my day job. So thanks for watching. I know I kind of rambled here at the end a little bit, but I just really did want to kind of share that experience of the show. So hopefully some of the girls from the show may be watching this later. And, I think we all pretty much had similar feelings that it was just like we were all just friends that hadn't seen each other for a really long time. And we just all hugged and talked and laughed and something you see off one of those silly girls movies, I guess. All right, so I am going to head to work. I will see you guys all on Tuesday. I hope everybody has a really awesome weekend. My husband and I are going to go, I think, to a Nano Fest. We've gone 3 years in a row, so kind of something we like to do. So I think that is on the plan for Saturday. It's supposed to rain, so we'll probably take the car. and maybe hopefully Sunday will be nice enough we can get a little ride in. It's getting here now, as you can, sweaters on and stuff. In the morning it is cold, and at night it chilly pretty quickly as soon as that sun goes down. So our riding time is has been drastically reduced from all day rides to about a 6 or 7 hour ride if we're lucky, and that's bundling up before we go and bundling up to be getting back. So there's not much time in the day that you can ride and just be really comfortable, but we'll get what we can in before it gets too cold and it's raining and snowing. So with that, I wish everybody has an amazing, great day. Remember to be kind. I say that all the time. Remember to be kind. Your kind words could change your day or somebody else's day. I always say that and stuff. But again, I just think like right now is a time where a lot of people are feeling that stress and that anxiety. And so in the card that we just pulled, it says, ask those around you how they are doing and listen closely and compassionately to their response. So again, that I think like it's just so weird how I think things just kind of all are connected in a way for us. We were just talking about being the change. We were talking about how people's anxieties and stress is going to be a little high. And we're talking about kindness and compassion. And then, we pull this card that tells us to be compassionate. And we pulled rose quartz, which is about love. So I just think it's amazing how things all kind of come together. And you can say I'm reading between the lines or I'm reading too much into it. But I choose to believe that it's all meant for a reason. You can call me silly if you want, but that's what I choose to believe. So share the love. Be kind and compassionate. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.